Do you hear it? Listen closely, critical Ring Theory fans. The clock is ticking, because it's time to rumble. It's time for the Royal Rumble, and today we're going to be talking about all things Rumble. I'm going to give you my opinion on one major issue that is absolutely apparent to me heading into the Royal Rumble. I'm going to tell you about a couple of things that I would do to end the Royal Rumble this year that are probably going to be better than what actually happens. I'm going to give you a couple pitches of things that I think they definitely should do in the Rumble, and then I'm going to close off with an absolutely off-the-wall theory for what I wanted them to do in the Rumble, but they've already missed the opportunity to do. So to start things off, I'm going to share with you what I think is the biggest issue heading into this Royal Rumble season, and it's the lack of a major storyline heading into WrestleMania. And when I say that, I mean that no one is heated up to the point where people are excited about, and you have that odds-on favorite to win. We know who the obvious picks are. We know Roman Reigns. We know Shayna Baszler. We know that Edge is in conversations to show up. Maybe he'll win. But there's no story heading in already that has people hooked and has people already salivating at the opportunity of going and buying a ticket to WrestleMania. I want you to think about the last few years and the storylines that the stories or the characters that they already had set up. Becky Lynch, the man, last year at Survivor Series when they had to change the match because of the injury, and everybody wanted desperately to see Becky Lynch get in the ring with Ronda Rousey, so much so that they made history and sent those two women, with the addition of Charlotte, into the main event. The year before, the rise of Asuka, coming from NXT, continuing the undefeated streak, and we then learned that Charlotte Flair was ready for Asuka. The year before, there wasn't a clear storyline, but we did get that epic encounter between Roman Reigns and The Undertaker where the seeds were planted previously heading into it. And I say all of that, and you think about the year with Daniel Bryan when he wasn't in the Royal Rumble and all the things that they needed to do, but the fact that they had somebody so heated up. And so this reminds me of some of the WrestleManias in the early 30s where there wasn't a compelling story heading into the Rumble. And I think that that presents both an opportunity and a major challenge to them in terms of getting people excited. They did do a great job last year with getting people behind Kofi. Do I think that they did that entirely intentionally? No. But I think that they have the opportunity to do that. Now I'm going to jump on to two things that I absolutely believe that they should do in this year's Men's Royal Rumble. Number one being, number two, there's been lots of speculation. There's been talk about having it be Cain Velasquez. There's been talk about having it be Edge or anybody else, because we know that Brock Lesnar is going to be starting out number one. And I have one pitch for the gentleman who should come in number two. And this is going to sound ridiculous. But I believe that it should be one Shorty G, Chad Gable. And you tell the story of Brock Lesnar standing in the ring, snickering at the idea that this little guy is going to have to spend 90 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever the interval is this year, with Brock Lesnar and be taken to Suplex City. And instead, you get 2 minutes of Shorty G going absolutely crazy, putting on a wrestling clinic to the point where at the end of this, everyone is going to be embarrassed that we have to call Chad Gable Shorty G, and he immediately starts to be seen as a more serious character. The fact that someone that has this much talent is being utilized in this way is criminal. And so this is how I would get past it. Number two, and actually I'm going to throw in a bonus one here. Kofi Kingston cut a promo before the Royal Rumble who reminds the world that last year at WrestleMania, He won the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE title, whatever they call it now, from Daniel Bryan, and everyone has forgotten it, and he is there to prove that he is not just a spot in that match, that he is there to take back his claim. He doesn't matter if it's The Fiend, it doesn't matter if it's Brock Lesnar. He is going to WrestleMania to claim his glory again, and whoever he faces will feast on those bootios. And then the final thing that I absolutely think they should do in the Rumble is have the club reunited in entirety in that match. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, AJ Styles, and one Finn Balor at some point should run roughshod in the ring. Fans have wanted it for years. What's the best way to appease the smarky fans in a way that they're not going to take over that Rumble and boo Roman Reigns potentially winning? It's to give them things that they want along the way, and I think that that is a great opportunity. There's also the ability to then drop in things to extend existing stories, have DIY show up in the middle of that and take out Finn Balor. Have, not necessarily the Viking Raiders, but have some tag team come in who can challenge the idea that Luke and Carl are the greatest tag team in the world. AJ Styles, put a broom in there and he'll make it work. So those are three things that I absolutely think they should do in the match. Now, on to who I believe should win the Rumble and who I believe would be better than it will probably be. The first person is not even a named person, but it is have one of the two Rumbles won by an NXT superstar. In particular, I had Keith Lee in mind for this, but he has since won the North American Championship, and I don't think that they're going to have him win both. But have an NXT superstar win one of the Royal Rumbles, have them go on to choose to contest for the NXT title. What better way to say that NXT is truly a third and equal brand than having the Royal Rumble winner appearing on Wednesday nights? Option number 2, and this is a two-parter, but I think that this could actually be one of two different people winning, but it could be the same story. Part number 1, during the women's title match for the Raw Women's title, have Asuka defeat Becky Lynch. What I would do is actually have Shayna Baszler cost Becky Lynch so they can spiral off into their own story at WrestleMania. But have Asuka so celebratory. Have Kairi Sane have made a mistake during the match that would have cost her. Asuka excited, but then spits in Kairi's face the ooze, the mist. Blind Kairi Sane and beat her down. Allow Kairi Sane to return to being a face so that you can get the epic pirate shot at WrestleMania with her coming and involved in the pirate ship that's in the stadium, maybe on her way to the Battle Royal or whatever, but have that moment because she is a naturally made face. And so then, in the Women's Royal Rumble, you could do this one of two ways. One, Kairi Sane returns, goes on to win it. There is not somebody who I think is immediately at the top of the pecking order this year. She goes on to WrestleMania and wants to extract her revenge against Asuka. Then you get the epic entrance from the pirate ship for her as she comes down for that match. Or, and this is the option I feel more strongly about, Io Shirai wins the match. She obviously turned heel a while ago, but is now in this tweener space, and she challenges Asuka for her friend, Kairi Sane. Io Shirai and Kairi Sane join up. Along the way, Asuka and Kairi Sane lose the women's tag team titles. They can tease all of the tension and whatnot, but Io Shirai wins the Royal Rumble and goes on to face Asuka, wins the Women's Championship, at WrestleMania and is truly invested in by WWE to keep her and Kyrie out of Stardom's clutches. Last person who I think should win the Rumble, and this one is a little out there, but I think it would be an incredible story, and it would close a chapter, is The Undertaker. And I know that he's older and he only tends to work a few shows this year, but we are at the point where he is right at the point of ending his career, and I think it should happen at WrestleMania, and this is how I would do it. Undertaker wins, comes out at the next SmackDown and says to The Fiend, "You have changed everyone." The rumor is that The Fiend is going to take on Kane at the next Saudi Arabian show. So let that happen. Let Kane disappear again, go back to politics. Then The Fiend will have changed every person he has feuded with and have The Undertaker come down and say, "I do not change." The Fiend will rest in peace. But at WrestleMania, The Undertaker loses and loses in decisive fashion. So that the next time we see The Undertaker, it's not as The Undertaker, it's as Mark Calloway being inducted into the Hall of Fame. The Fiend's greatest victory, the retiring of The Undertaker and changing him from the dead icon to a mere man. That's the way you make The Fiend. He's already an established guy, but that's the way that you set him up for a long run in the future. Last and not least, my absolute bonkers plan that I wanted to see in the Rumble, but they've already ruined. This one goes back to The Fiend again. One of the things that I absolutely loved when they reintroduced the Fiend character was that they had not called him Bray Wyatt. So the Fiend was his own guy. Bray Wyatt was appearing in the Funhouse. Two separate characters we all knew were the same. However, they never appeared together and they were two separated characters. Then you have Funhouse Bray Wyatt win the Royal Rumble with all of the puppetry magic involved, all of the puppets showing up. You know, maybe one of them pops out from the ring apron and drags Braun Strowman out as he's hanging off. All of that. And then, in the Funhouse, he challenges The Fiend. And we get the build of The Fiend versus Bray Wyatt at the at WrestleMania. And you may be saying to yourself, "Pavin, that's cool and all, but how the hell do you book a match at Mania?" Here's my one dilemma. I have no freaking clue, but I think it would be genius. Maybe you do the behind-the-scenes filming so that the match is in the Funhouse, or that they're meeting somewhere. Hell, you got the red light on. You can figure something out. The Fiend's going to be bathed in red light. Have somebody paint on tattoos who looks roughly like Bray Wyatt, and have the match work that way. I believe that it would have been one of the most entertaining out there ways to build a match to Mania, and it would have been incredibly unique. However, I know that they would never do it, and there are several things that I pitched today that probably won't happen or probably can't happen. But I do guarantee you that they're better than what you're going to see on Sunday. Hope you enjoy the Rumble. Hope I am proven wrong. Have a wonderful Royal Rumble evening. And don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Pavin signing out.